Good evening. This is the Ask Dr. Renee show. I am Dr. Renee, your host. And if you have not watched our show before, our show is really here to do two simple things: motivate and inspire you to live the life you deserve. A lot of people, wait until this, or I can't do this yet because of this. You need to live your life now. Don't put off for tomorrow what you could do today, because it could help you to live the most amazing life that you never imagined you could live. So all of my guests, I believe, to me, they lived their lives in amazing ways. They are living the lives that they deserve, and they are living lives that they never imagined that they would live, just because they were able to take that leap of faith and do exactly what it was they were put on this earth to do. So if this is your first time watching, you are more than welcome to tune in to the old episodes via podcast on iTunes or via my website, askdrrenee.info. All that information is on the screen, and you can watch all the old episodes under the Ask Dr. Renee show. Our guest today is Teneshia Jackson Warner. Tanisha is an author. She's a motivational speaker, and she's CEO of Egami Consulting. But most importantly, she is a dreamer, and we'll talk more about that later. Welcome to the show, Tanisha.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Renee.
So you grew up in Dothan, Alabama. Can you tell me about your early years? Because that just doesn't sound like that's a big city.
No, it's not. So actually, from ages, say from the time that I was born up until about 11, I actually lived in Greenwood, Florida.
So another small
town. Greenwood, Florida is northern Florida. It's on the Panhandle, right near the Alabama state line. I grew up in the country, as in dirt roads, farms, and all of that good stuff. And then when I was 11, I actually moved to Dothan, Alabama, which for me was the big city at the time. But even now, Dothan is a smaller town, but I absolutely love Dothan, Alabama, and I go back quite often, and I still love Greenwood, Florida, my country farm homeland.
So you lived in this small town, you grew up in two different small cities in the country, as you said. So what were your ambitions as a child? Because, most kids, especially, around our age, back then, it was, there was no internet, so you really couldn't see the things that these kids now can see.
You know what? It changed a lot. As I told you last week, I think my earliest memory, I actually told my grandmother that I wanted to be a maid, and that's because I loved cleaning my room growing up. And then from that, I was about in third grade, and I wanted to be a lawyer. And so it changed quite a bit. By the time I made it to college, it was computer science. And basically that choice, now that I look back, it was even driven based on the earning potential of the role. So I would definitely say during my early years, I changed career choices or what I was dreaming of back then quite often. It wasn't until I was older that I was able to kind of think about what is it that I really want to do.
That's interesting, very interesting. So with a computer science degree, what were your ambitions that, did you see, okay, I want to work for, because I'm from Detroit, and a lot of my friends were engineering majors, and computer science was in the School of Engineering. A lot of them said they were going back to Detroit to work for the big three. So what was your ambitions as with a computer science degree?
For me, as I told you, I definitely chose the major computer science because it was basically a major that I could major in and make quite a bit of money coming out of college. And I knew I wanted to land an opportunity with a major technology firm. I interned during my college years at Lockheed Martin, as well as FedEx. And then coming out of college, I had the opportunity to land a job at IBM Global Services. So I was definitely wanting to land a pretty good opportunity at a major technology firm coming out of college.
It sounds exciting and fun. So you did that. You interned. You got this great job. You're moving up the ladder, and then it happened. What happened to make you decide, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life?
You know what? I would definitely say for me, it was just not being fulfilled. So my first year out of college, I would say it was pretty exciting then because I was making money. But by year two, I wasn't really challenged. I knew my role as a project manager. Definitely by year three, I had that down. So what changed for me was just I was unhappy. I wasn't really fulfilled in the role. I complained quite often to my parents. And I told you when I got that phone call from them saying, hey, listen, you must decide what it is that you want to do. Figure out what you're passionate about and make a change now. But you can no longer call us to complain. And that pretty much was the conversation that my parents had with me. And it ended up sort of being the interruption to my complaining pattern. And it was at that point I said, you know what, I want to try to figure out what is it that I love to do.
Well, and you know what, that's it's something that most parents probably wouldn't necessarily tell their child that's making a very good living at a great job that has great room for, growth. So I really commend your parents, especially your stepdad, for giving you that advice, because a lot of people out here are doing what they not necessarily love to do, but they are paying their bills and basically existing, where you and I both agree that you should live life to the fullest.
Yeah.
And you're not living life to the fullest if you're just just existing and you're just okay. You need to be happy. I think, I always say to people, life is too short to be unhappy. We should all be happy while we are here on earth.
Absolutely.
So you decided that you need to make this change. So can you take us through the steps on how you decided to make that change?
Well, I basically decided that something's not right. I'm not necessarily passionate about this. And step one was trying to determine, well, what is it that I'm passionate about? And I started with sort of mapping back from my natural interests. So one of the first things was I thought, well, perhaps I could have a career in fashion, around fashion styling, because I absolutely love to shop. And so I thought that was it. So there was actually a movie filming in Minneapolis. That's where I was living during the time. And I went to the creative director of the movie and I pitched myself and said, hey, can I volunteer? I would like to learn what it means to be a fashion stylist within the film industry. She said yes. And I started to volunteer on this particular movie set. And so a couple things happened there. Number one, I realized the power of being willing to sort of give. So me offering myself up to volunteer landed me that opportunity to shadow this creative director. So I ended up working on this movie set for a number of months. I was still actually working at IBM Global Service at the time. And at the end of the movie set, I had an honest conversation with the creative director. She said, listen, you did an amazing job, but I really do not think this is your calling. I said, well, why not? She said, I've never worked with a fashion stylist that brought their laptop in and pulled out a spreadsheet and started sorting the fashion designs within the spreadsheet. She was like, I don't think this is a match. So I thanked her for the opportunity. But at that point, I was really still on a journey to explore and try to find out, well, what is it? And I think it was being in this exploration state of trying to figure out, well, what is it? I was sort of a sponge. I was reading different articles. I was reading books. I was even watching TV, believe it or not, trying to understand within some of the reality shows, like what are some of the behind the scenes roles in entertainment. And it was during that process that I actually was recommended one of Russell Simmons' books. And I read Life and Death. And for me, that was my big aha moment. I knew that I wanted to transition into the entertainment space. I knew that I wanted to sort of serve as a liaison between some of the corporate business deals that at the time pop culture was doing on a day-to-day with a lot of corporate brands. And I knew I just wanted to learn. So for me, that was the moment I said, I know I'm going to transition into entertainment. And I started to prepare. I felt like I'm going to meet someone that could potentially change the trajectory. And I practiced this 1 minute speech. And I would basically, anybody around me at the time, whether you were my friend or my mom, I would actually have you time me because I was confident that I was going to meet someone that I would get an opportunity to pitch myself. And fast forward, I actually landed that opportunity. I met Russell Simmons at the Magic Fashion Trade Show. And again, that's another story. But basically, we accidentally bumped into one another, and I was ready. I pitched myself and basically said, you know, Russell, I would love an opportunity to learn from you. I have over 5 years of corporate experience. I'm willing to volunteer in exchange for an opportunity to learn from you. And again, I, said I'm willing to work for no fee. And that was the beginning of a long journey. I can't say he said yes right then. I was very persistent over a period of time, but finally he said, you've been pitching yourself for a while. I met you in Las Vegas. I met you at this conference. I even went to the office once to pitch myself. But finally, he said, I have not witnessed persistence like this in a long time, and I would love to give you an opportunity. So that was sort of my big transition into the right path, at least the right passionate path. And it's been an upward journey since that time.
I call it stalking with a purpose. Because you knew somebody was the one, and then you read the book and discovered, okay, well, this is the person. And I'm sure you told people, I'm going to meet Russell Simmons and I'm going to give him this pitch because you were practicing it. And I'm sure there was many people along the way that doubted you.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, during that period, I didn't think it was going to be Russell. So I read this book, I fell in love with sort of the business model of urban culture and the various types of business deals that they were doing. And for me, I just knew I was going to meet someone, but I didn't think it was Russell. So the fact that it became Russell, that was even more of a beautiful surprise. But yeah, I did not, when I was practicing the 1 minute pitch, I didn't know that I was actually practicing the pitch for Russell.
Okay, well, you knew it was someone, and I know, right. I know that there's many people that have these dreams and aspirations people that actually do dream big. What did people say to you that, how did you deal with people that were like, you're never going to meet anyone, you're in Minnesota, you're from Alabama, you're never going to meet anyone that can take you to that level. What did you say to those people?
You know what? I think during that period, I was very intentional to surround myself with individuals that could see the vision. And if you weren't, you really weren't in my inner circle during that period. So I was very intentional to share the vision with those that could sort of reflect back to me possibility. I'll tell you this, the one person that I could not share my dream with, and I love her, she's like my best friend, is my grandma. So I didn't tell her any of those things that were happening during that period. I mean, in my grandmother's opinion, I had hit the jackpot by working at IBM Global Services. Coming out of college, I was making more than she could have ever imagined. She worked her entire life and didn't make that type of salary. And so for her, it was, baby, you got a good job. And I want you to work on that good job for a number of years and retire from that good job. So I knew that she was not trying to hear that I wanted to leave IBM Global Services without having another job and sort of start chasing this dream journey. So I never shared that vision with my grandma. And so that goes to say, when you have a dream, you have to trust it with those that you know are able to hold that vision. And sometimes it may be the very people you love the most that you aren't able to share that with during that period. So a lesson that I learned early. And later she was all down and cool, but not until I had landed another good job.
I understand completely. When I moved to Chicago, I told people I'm going to meet Oprah Winfrey, and of course, no, most of the people didn't believe me. There was a few people that, I think they were joking, but they would say, "Have you met her yet? Have you met her yet?" And then 9 months here, I did meet her. So
Wow.
then they said, "Oh my God, you really did?" I said, "Yeah, I told you I wasn't going to be in Chicago and not meet Oprah. That just wasn't going to happen." So
Wow.
yeah, so I completely understand, and I I'm really good. I try to be very good at getting the negative out of my life and not listening to people who do not believe that this is possible. But I think that they motivate me to work even harder. So I make other things line up that are line up that kind of look like the inevitable is possible. And then they have nothing to say. They're just like, oh wow. But I think it's so amazing that you were able to do that and get the pitch and finally work for free for Russell. So can you tell us what you did for Russell and how you were able to parlay that into him being the first client of your brand new company?
Well, originally, again, remember, I was volunteering, no fee. So originally, I was a sponge. I listened a lot. I didn't say much at all, and just looked to serve wherever I could. And when I say that, in some of those early days, you got to know, essentially, I wasn't even an intern, so serving looked like a lot of different things. Maybe it was going to get them something to eat. I'll tell you, one of the best assignments I got early on was working with the VP. He needed some support in cleaning his office, and that was the best assignment ever because when I helped him clean his office, I actually read all of the contracts that were all over the place. And it was like a deep dive into the way that Russell did business and the way he structured his deals. And so fast forward, one day he had an opportunity. There was a project called Hip Hop Reader, and it was an initiative between Russell, Verizon Wireless, and the Unite Negro College Fund. And the project was scheduled to launch in about 2 months. And Russell came in and wanted to know the status of where it was. And basically, it wasn't moving along as where he thought it should have been. And I stood up and said, "You should give me this project." And he's like, "First of all, you're still here?" I said, "Yes, and you should give me this project." And so that was his first project that he assigned me. And at that time, I was still volunteering. But it was a really, really strong program. It provided me with an opportunity to sort of show my skill set coming from corporate America, liaising with Verizon Wireless. And it was after that project, he said, "Listen, I want to hire you. You did an amazing job." And I said, "You don't want to hire me. You really want to hire my company." And he's like, "Hire your company?" And I said, "Yes, you want to hire my company." So he had a long trip. He needed to do business in Europe. He said he was going away, and that when he got back, we revisited. So he went to Europe, and I incorporated the company. And when he came back, he became Egami's first client.
That is so crazy. I just want to remind everyone, if you're watching via YouTube, you can click at the bottom of the screen. It says "Be Our Guest," and be interactive as a part of the group. So you can click on that, and that would allow you to ask any questions you have for either one of us this evening, and we'll take those questions as they come. Thank you so much. So this is too funny. So he becomes your first client, and you go from there. So how many years was he your sole client? How many years was that?
For a number of years, I would say probably at least 3 to 4.
Okay.
So we did a lot of activations around turning out the youth vote. I don't know if you remember the Vote or Die campaign.
Yep.
That we were on the road probably a year and a half doing pretty large activations in sort of positioning voting as something cool. And again, this was years ago, back in like 2003, 2004. And then after that, a lot of the work that I focus on was primarily sort of organizational development of Rush Communications. Still continue to liaise on a number of his campaign initiative between his nonprofits and corporate partners. And so I would say about 3 to 4 years. And it wasn't until that time that I sort of, again, got that feeling of I hate to say it, but I was kind of becoming bored because I knew I knew the job like the back of my hand. And it was during that period that I let a couple people know, if you need any help on anything, let me know. And I had a friend that met the CEO of Johnson's. Johnson is the leading product provider of class rings in the U.S. school system. And he said, T, I want to join forces with you on this project. Should Johnson's pay attention to the urban consumer market? And I sort of worked through the strategy and helped him with the pitch. And we ended up landing Johnson's as a client. And we launched the first urban class ring. So Beyonce did a class ring with House of Dairy on. Kimura actually did a signature class ring with Baby Fat and a couple of other artists. And for me, that was like the aha of, okay, I can take the few years of experience in urban culture, and now I can use the previous experience from corporate America and serve as a liaison between urban culture, urban consumers, and these various corporate brands. And it was during that period I knew I wanted to work with more corporate brands. And that's when I said, okay, it's time to take on additional clients. It was time to leave my comfort zone once again, because at that point, Russell was the comfort zone. So I had to step out on faith all over again.
And so there are many people that are familiar with the brands that you work with. They just didn't know that your company had a hand in the marketing campaigns for those brands. So could you name some of the other brands besides Johnson's?
So Johnson's, again, was one of the first corporate accounts. And after that, we did a strategic partnership with a Publicis-owned agency, MSL Group. And what that did for us is it really allowed us to work on larger campaigns. So a number of Procter & Gamble brands, Bounty, My Black is Beautiful. We worked on what they call scale programs, and these are programs where there may be multiple brands, so Mr. Clean, a number of consumer packaged good accounts. I've also worked on lifestyle accounts, Heineken Red Star Soul, which was a music concert series. We worked with brands up under the Louis Vuitton umbrella. So the list just sort of started to grow year over year. And I think for me, I definitely realized that I was in my sweet spot, because the campaigns allow for me to be creative every day. And I absolutely love having the ability to create something new on a day-to-day basis. That's important for me, is to be able to create. And we've been working on that journey now for the past 7 years, and absolutely still love what we're doing on a day-to-day, and looking to continue to grow that.
So then Tanisha writes this wonderful book, Profit with Purpose, a marketer's guide to delivering purpose-driven campaigns to multicultural audiences. And this book, I'm telling you, it's a blueprint. She literally lays it out for you. If you had any questions on how to market to, African American communities or Latino communities, it covers it all. It's really, really good. And so how did you find the time even to write this book? Because it's not, I've said to several of my other guests, a first book, you think, 50 pages or so, some small little book. But this is quite a book, 200 and something pages.
Well, in 2009, we actually won an award, the Ad Color MVP Award. And so Ad Color celebrates agencies for award-winning diversity work. And I was actually on a plane heading to Ad Color, and I needed to write the acceptance speech. And it was during that period when I was writing the speech that I was trying to go back and calculate the difference that our campaign, or our campaigns with an S, made over the previous years as it related to the multicultural communities. And that was the first time that I calculated scholarships and grants that were basically byproducts of some of the campaigns that we were doing. And I noticed that we had created over $1 million in scholarships supporting multicultural communities. So, for example, we linked Thurgood Marshall with the brand, or we linked Rush Philanthropic with the brand. And it was a huge aha moment that basically the unique lane for Egami was what I call a purpose-inspired lane. Like, we were doing purpose-driven marketing. And after that, I said, you know what, I want to take a step back and look at all of our case studies to see if there's sort of a unique thread or a proprietary approach that I can share with other brands as it relates to engaging the multicultural community. And that was the birth of a book.
Well, like I said, it's a very, very excellent book. She also gives her story of how she got started and started the company at the beginning of the book. So it's very inspiring at the same time as extremely informative. So Amazon.com, and we'll have the link below, but please go and get this book. It's a great book. So you do that. So now you have the book and you've won these awards. So then you start the Dream Project. So can you tell us more about the Dream Project? And I know that it takes place next weekend. This is the third one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the third annual Dream Project takes place next weekend in Atlanta on the 16th and 17th. Tickets are still available, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you would like to go, please make sure you visit the website. It's on her lower third, dreamprojectonline.com, but we will have that also hyperlinked in the box below. But please tell us more about that.
So the Dream Project, as you can probably tell, it is definitely my passion project, or the firm's passion project. So basically, you know, as you can tell from this story, we have been walking sort of an entrepreneur journey over the past 10 years. And what that comes with is oftentimes we would counsel other entrepreneurs or other aspiring entrepreneurs, or even professionals that were looking to sort of define, how do I take my business idea to the next level, or how do I take my business brand to the next level. And so it was really born out of a desire to give back and share the knowledge that we have obtained over the past 10 years, as well as, you know, even create a community to allow and foster continued learning. So we decided, let's launch the Dream Project, and the mission and goal is to support other professionals and entrepreneurs with taking their dreams and business ideas to the next level. Of course, during that inaugural year, I called Russell, shared the vision with him, and he said, okay, I'm on board. Kathy Hughes came and she supported Will Packer. And we really knew from the first year that something special was there. All of the thought leaders and iconic entrepreneurs that participated, they really came in a spirit of giving and sharing the knowledge that they had acquired up until that point. We were able to bring community partners together, and we just knew year one that, okay, we got something special. Last year was also an amazing year. We had Damon John from Shark Tank and Randall Pickett from The Apprentice, Lisa Price, and basically it was, again, one day of just pouring into others. And this year we're even more excited for a number of reasons. We are expanding, so the conference is a 2-day conference. That means we are bringing double the content. And we have an all-star lineup. Soledad O'Brien is one of our keynotes. We have Desiree Rogers, India R. Ree. We have an Idea Genius panel with Myleik Teal, Chef Roblé, CEO of Nugo Bars. So basically a dynamic mix of thought leaders, entrepreneurs, creative visionaries, all sharing, here's how I was able to take my passion and turn it into a profitable business venture. Here's how I was able to sort of take my dream from just an idea, but actually do it and turn it into, a notable business venture. And then we have people like Chef Roblé. Hey, I was able to take my passion and love of cooking, and I've now built a platform. So again, talk about sharing knowledge and an exchange of just visionaries sharing their wealth of knowledge. That is what the Dream Project is about. This year, we are also bringing some creative forums. So if you wanted to get in film and television, we have a dynamic mix of speakers there. If you have an interest in building a career in music and entertainment, we have a panel focused on music and entertainment. Digital all-stars. So if you're a rising social maven like yourself, digital all-stars would be, an amazing panel to participate in. So we think it's going to be the best year ever. Out of the past 3 years, India already is going to perform. We have Estelle joining us. So I am thrilled. The countdown is on, and if you're watching this, you need to get your ticket and you need to take a seat and get ready to dream. So if you're watching, I definitely want to see you there. Register. We have limited seats left, so register now.
I am very excited because my sister and I are attending the Dream Project for the first time this year. So I am very excited, and I know that we are going to, I like to be surrounded with like-minded people, and, just being surrounded by you is enough, but just, all those people, it sounds like it's going to be pretty powerful.
I'm really excited. I feel like something special is going to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and speaking of which, we have a few special surprise moments that will be brought to you by our partner in Samsung. And all I will say is bring your dream in the room, and who knows, you may just win an opportunity to have that dream turn out. So I can't say any more. But you want to...
Yeah, definitely. Everyone wants to be there. You've got to be there. I also participated in a Twitter chat that Egami Consulting had Friday. Was it not Friday? What day was that last week?
I think it was Friday with the Boss Network and
so we did that, and I participated, and it was lovely. And a lot of the people that are going down there were participating as well. And it sounds like everyone is excited. Some of the presenters were tweeting, and Soledad O'Brien tweeted me, so I was on cloud 11. I look at it twice. I go, wait a minute. Oh my God! So I'm excited, and I can't wait.
It's just the time is coming. Soledad will be on your show. Let's put it out there.
Well, okay then. You guys heard it here from Tanisha. So from her lips to God's ears, anything is possible.
Yes.
I have always said that. Anything is possible. So I have to always, we talk about business. Business is great. But you also inspire me, as you know, in the love category in personal life, because a lot of us entrepreneurs have a rough time, as you did also, with actually finding that balance, which is totally, I've asked every woman on the show about balance. There's no such thing as balance. You have to give it your all at 9 to 5 to your 9 to 5, and give your all to your family from 6 to whatever time you go to bed. So, but you, like me, had trouble actually taking time out to actually take care of Tanisha. You just were all about business. So can you please tell us the lovely story of your friend that helped you to realize that you were about to pass up a good thing?
Yes. So
well, actually, start with how you met your husband and then almost passed him up.
Yes. So as you know from a mutual friend, Felicia Butterfield, Felicia and I, we were out one night, and my husband actually knew Felicia from a business relationship, and he came over and he spoke to Felicia, and he said that he left the restaurant that night and he called a friend and said, I just met my brown sugar. So my husband knew. But for me at the moment, I just met someone that Felicia knew, right? Fast forward, I actually connected with him at another event. And again, he just sort of followed up and said, I would love to take you out sometimes. And I was just not in a good space. So I told him, listen, I'm not in a good space. I'm not really looking to date right now. Will you follow back up with me next year? Um, he said, okay, if you're not in a good space, I understand. And fast forward the following year, early in the year, he actually emailed me and said, I hope your year is off to a better start. Let me know if you would like to connect. No response. And then fast forward again, I'm at a restaurant with another friend, Jojo Brim, who is also a friend of Felicia's, and we bumped into Michael, who is now my husband. And Michael said, hey, I reached out, I didn't hear back from you, and Michael left, and then I had what I call one of those interruption moments where I had a friend that he was being a friend, but at the time I didn't realize he was being a friend. And he said, listen, I can't do this with you anymore. You know, we go out to eat, and basically you want to go on these long talks about how there's no good man and you can't find anyone. He's like, I'm not doing this with you anymore. And he said, you do not have the ability to see a good man. And I was livid. But actually, I needed to hear that, and it was that challenge that sort of kept me up that night. And I wrote my husband and said, listen, if you still want to go out, I'm open. And we went out on a date after that, and I think it was me. I think I shifted, and I was really open to the possibilities of love. And from our first date, it was just, I felt like I knew him forever. I trusted him. I shared so many dreams with him, and the rest is history. Fast forward, we're married now.
So I I watched you guys on a local show. I watched it online or something, a local show in New York. And I just love the fact that your husband said that he sent you an email and you had told him your dreams, and he sent you an email and said he was going to do everything in his power to make sure they came true. And I said, Lord, where is his twin? I need we need to clone this and sell it. I have several friends that would be lining up.
Yeah, he did.
So you said he wrote you a poem or something?
Yeah, he did. So, well, originally he wrote the poem, and the poem was later a poem that his father read at our wedding. Again, when he originally wrote the poem, because I was so hesitant about entering a relationship, I was like, wait, hold up, it's too serious. But yeah, so and to that point with the email, everything that Michael wrote about in that original email, all of those things have come to pass. So, I remember in that email I shared that I wanted to write a book and just basically shared so many visions. And for the most part, we have created all of those things together that we said we would from the very beginning. And we're still dreaming together.
That is wonderful and so important. And so, can you briefly describe how wonderful or how crazy is it to work with your husband?
I know. So you probably can see from this picture behind. I'm in the office now, and I spend a lot of time here. Michael spends a lot of time here as well. We're business partners. So there's pros and cons. I'll tell you the pros. The pro is on a day-to-day basis, I feel like we come in here and we create. Like literally, as you can see, we write on the walls. Like I can erase this and write another idea. So I feel like on a day-to-day basis, we get to dream together. Like we're in here creating big ideas, we're selling things together. So that's the pro. And another pro is I spend a lot of time here, so I'm glad we spend it together. I would say the con goes to the balance, and we've really had to work hard to carve out. Here is the sort of working professional relationship, and here is just family time, where we're not going to talk about a client, We're not going to talk about anything business related. We're just going to be husband and wife. So that took a while to sort of get that balance right. And we're still working on it, but a lot better. We went on a month vacation to Antigua at the end of the year. And so things like that just help us keep it in perspective. So that's the pros and cons, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I couldn't imagine running this company without Michael by my side.
A month-long vacation. Wow.
Yes.
I don't know if I could ever.
It was divine. It was divine.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I could turn off for that long is my thing, I think. I need to work on it.
The first couple days, if I were to show you some of the videos, like the first couple days, I was like, what do we do? What do we do? Like, I was wanting to get to my computer. But after about day 3, the simplicity, we were spending time in Antigua, we just sort of fell into this simplicity mode of just disconnecting, and it was amazing.
That is pretty cool, I must say. So, and like I said, I think that it's just such a beautiful love story for the man to actually revisit it in a year. You know, most men have trouble with timing, you know. So I thought that was just so amazing when I heard that story. So did you ever imagine that this would actually be your life?
Wow. I would say this. When I started to allow myself the space to dream, I can say I thought anything was possible, but it wasn't until I allowed myself the freedom to imagine what could be possible. So I can't say I'm surprised. I am fulfilled, and I'm even more excited about the future as well. So there's really no limit when you're walking in what you are called to do.
I totally agree. Totally agree. What is the lesson you think it took you the longest to learn?
Oh, I'm still learning this one, and that is that everything will be okay. I worry, I get stressed, I just, it seems like I might have an addiction to worrying sometimes. I'll call Michael, are you thinking about this? And if I look back, it's always okay. So I don't even know why I go through the motion of allowing myself to worry. So I'm working on that now. When I kind of find myself getting anxious or find myself worrying over something, I just remind myself that, hey, all is well. All is well. So still learning that.
And what do you think is, yeah, and I mean, I think that we all have to work on that. You know, I've heard them say that if you worry, you have no faith, and if you have faith, then there's no need to worry. So I try to always remind myself of that. And I mean, it's still difficult, but I try to remind myself there's no need to worry. Not to mention that worry does not usually get you anything but sick.
Yeah.
So, you know, because of the stress and, you know, you can have all sorts of issues. So it's just better to keep the faith and keep it moving.
Yes.
So what is your definition of success?
My definition of success is probably fulfillment. So what is it that is fulfilling for you? And if you feel that you are happy and at peace, and you're sort of doing the things that are your heart's desire, not necessarily what society is saying, you know, you should do, I think that's success. Sort of defining it on your own terms and seeking peace and happiness and fulfillment.
And what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh man, I can't believe I'm getting stuck on this again. We talked about this.
Yes.
The best piece of advice I've ever received. I think it would be to dream. I think, going back to some of those early conversations when my parents said, you got to go for it. You got to figure out what you're passionate about. Um, you got to figure out what your purpose is. And that is the journey you should be walking. I think that's the best piece of advice that I ever received, because otherwise I think I would have been playing it safe, and I would have, continued to work the good job that my grandma thought was amazing. But having the courage to walk a very passionate journey and walk a purpose-inspired journey, that's the best piece of advice that I've ever received.
Do you have a favorite quote or scripture?
The quote would be, all things excellent are as difficult as they are rare. And again, I'll say that again, all things excellent are as difficult as they are rare. And that's a quote that I repeat to myself that really grounds me in it's going to take sacrifice and discipline to walk the walk and to achieve some of the goals that I've set for myself. And so, when I want to get tired, or I want to look to the side and say, oh man, I could be doing this, I kind of jolt myself and say, no, you've chosen this path, and it's going to come with hard work.
Yeah, that's very important, because I'm often like, what am I doing? I have lost my mind completely. But I was like, wait a minute, but this is what you are supposed to be doing. This is what you want to do. You got to, you just got to keep going, keep going. So I like that quote a lot. So first I will tell everyone, because I usually do tell everyone, the way that I met Tanisha was at the same mutual friend we have, Alicia Butterfield Jones's birthday party. And I ended up meeting Tanisha. She was asking me about my natural hair. She was a new naturalista at the time. And then her husband had a lapel pin of the Antigua flag. As she mentioned before, they went to vacation in Antigua. Well, that's the island my dad is from. And I thought I was seeing things when I saw the pin. And I said, excuse me, is that an Antigua flag? And he said, yeah. And then I said, oh, my goodness. And so it was too funny. So they are just a wonderful couple, and like I said, just so inspiring, just business-wise as well as personal-wise. It's just a great story, and great people. So
I'm very happy we met too. I mean,
yes, me too.
You just bright light, and I think what excites me the most for you is, again, I can tell that you're on a dream journey. You shared various visions and goals, and you are doing them. So, Dr. Renee, if you say it, by the next time I talk to you, you're like, I have a show now. I'm a brand expert for this brand. So, you're a go-getter. And any way that we can support you, we will.
Yes, I so appreciate it. So, is there a brand or a person that you dream to work with?
Oh, I would say at this point, I know that a part of Egami's what's next is to continue to deliver purpose-inspired programming. And when I say that, it can be via conferences such as the Dream Project. It can be via marketing campaigns, like some of the amazing campaigns we get to do with our clients on a day-to-day basis that are purpose-inspired, and or content, as in content that can go on a network, it can go online. So the vision is to bring forth purpose-inspired programming to the world. So I would say anyone that could serve as a vessel to magnify our reach would be the ideal person. So, of course, Oprah is Miss Live Your Best Life.
Yeah.
And I actually have heart palpitations when I watch Super Soul Sunday. I think the content is amazing.
It is. It is.
I love masterclass, so I I can honestly say I feel the type of content that she's delivering. So I would probably be honored to work with her in some capacity one day via a partnership to bring forth more purpose-inspired content. I think a lot of her vision and values and her intentions sort of line up with our company's core values and what we would like to do. So she would be a person for sure that I would love to work with. We actually had an opportunity by working with Procter& and Gamble to serve as the agency that supported P&G's support of the Oprah Live the Life You Want tour. And that was an amazing experience. I was so inspired. So I guess you can say in some degree, we have had a capacity to work at least in close proximity to an entity that brings about the type of content that she stands for. But she would be it. I would love to continue to work with her.
We both will. So I think anything is possible, as you know. So they could be, any one of them could be watching or will watch this. You just never know.
Let's do this.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like you, Super Soul Sunday, especially, did you see India Arie Super Soul Sunday?
India, she's going to be at the Dream Project.
Yeah.
So she actually told me that she did 2 episodes and that I need to see episode 1 and 2. So I have not watched India's segment, but I will, because now this is another whole story, but we have the TV on demand. My husband just recently changed our cable network, but just know that I have access to it and I will be watching it.
Okay. It was phenomenal. It was amazing. It was life-changing. I mean, honestly, I think I've been to many concerts, as you know what I've done in my past lives, and I've been to so many shows, but after the Songversation tour, which was her last tour, I told her face-to-face, this was the best concert I've ever attended. But I think it was the best because of the fact that, because I've seen Michael Jackson and I've seen Janet every single tour but one. And they put on a show. But I think her show was the best one because of the content of her songs. Like, the words of her songs, it almost feels like we are living parallel lives. And so I felt every song she sang, and then in between the songs, she would put up a quote, and the quote would kind of give you a clue of what the next song was, but they were not quotes from the songs. So these were just really phenomenal quotes from different, visionaries and, world thinkers, and it was just so amazing. I've just never experienced anything like that. She did some liturgical dancing. My mother came out and sang. It was just the most amazing experience that I've ever had. And so I told her, I was like, I must tell you, this was the best show I've been to. And we have a mutual friend, and I said, and she could tell you, I've been to a whole lot of concerts. But this was the best show, and I'm still surprised. I did not cry because I'm a crier. I didn't cry during the show, but when I tell you it was an experience like no other,
oh, wow.
I just never. And then I told her, I said, I saw you on Super Soul Sunday, and I said, that was something else. I mean, it was so interesting to hear, she talked about when she didn't win all those Grammys she got nominated for, and Alicia Keys did win, and how that made her feel. And she just talked about how she, went on a big break from doing any music and what was going on in that time. And it was just so interesting. I think she's a really interesting person with a really fascinating story. And those 2 hours were 2 hours well spent. I could not believe, that she got 2, and I was so excited because it was really, really, really good. Then I also told her that, so she did the Super Soul Sunday. Oh, and then I showed her my picture with Oprah, and she's like, that's huge. I go, this is nothing compared to your 2-hour sit down. But she was so nice. I mean, she was really nice, and I was already a huge fan, but she was just really nice. And like I said, the songs, I remember when she came out with Private Party, I told my mom, I said, that's my song. I said, because my mother, you call her and say, and she's like, oh, I'll get to you later, and then you call this one, and then you just have a private party. And I went to the concert by myself that time. when that CD was out, went by myself, and when she sang Private Party, I told her, I was so excited to tell her to her face this time. I said, it was just me and you in that room. I swear it was. And she just laughed. I was like, I don't
Oh
care how
man.
crazy I look. I felt like it was just me and her. I was like, we had a private party, and she sang away, and it was lovely. But I have a dream that she'll be on the show one day soon as well. So I'm
Okay.
going to keep my fingers crossed on that, because I think that that would just be amazing, especially with her new campaign, I Am Light. She was on Being Mary Jane last week, and she's doing this whole thing, and she has a book that's coming out this spring, and she's releasing it in increments to her fans, and it's free. It's an ebook, and so I'm really excited about all the things she's doing. So I was really excited to see that she was one of the keynotes at the Dream Project, because I know that she is just an amazing person as is. So we have 2 minutes left, and I want to do the little fast questions, which I did receive from Auntie O herself one day when I was watching Super Soul Sunday. That's where these questions came from. So I want you to finish these sentences with the first thing that comes to mind. So it could be one word or it could be a few words, but just the first thing that comes to mind. The world needs
Love.
I believe in
God.
love is
God.
branding is
Branding is, you know what I would say there? Branding is your reputation.
my job is
To create.
please let everyone know how we can support you. Do you have any other Twitter parties coming up before the Dream Project? But please let us know how we can support you.
So the first way that you can support is by registering and coming to the Dream Project and bringing your dream in the room. So dreaming is a journey. It's not a destination. If you're living, there's something else that you can aspire to. So if you are in the Atlanta area, or not even the Atlanta area, we have people coming from New York, Chicago. Make your way to Atlanta next week, April 16th and 17th, www.dreamprojectonline.com. So that is the first way that you can support. The second way I would say is join the conversation. We actually will have 2 more Twitter parties, and Dr. Renee, I'll get someone on my team to tell you when, so you can
Okay.
when. But join the conversation and encourage others to join the conversation, and for them to attend the Dream Project as well. So that's what support looks like right now.
Great. And we will also have Tanisha as well as Egami Consulting's Twitter IDs available in the box below, as well as the Egami Consulting website. Tanisha does offer internships to those college kids that are out there. I know that she does have internships. I don't know if she has any available this summer. It might be too late. But in the future, that's something definitely to look into. And definitely support the brands that she supports. Follow them on Twitter. And try to retweet and get involved, like she said in the conversation. The conversation for the Dream Project is #Dream2015. So you'll probably see me sending a lot of tweets with that hashtag. You'll see her and the rest of her team, but Dream 2015. And a lot of people, I just was looking today, Alfred Edmond Jr. from Black Enterprise is tweeting with that hashtag. Teneshia Jackson from Essence Magazine is tweeting with that hashtag. So, be a part of the conversation. You never know. I've told you many times on this show that I've met people through Twitter, and yes, I've met them in person since, and we are, either business partners, friends, or whatever, but they know me and I know them, and it's all because of Twitter. So please believe that it is so possible, and here's a perfect opportunity, this Twitter party, for you to get your voice to be heard and to find out more about the Dream Project.
Tell your sister I'm so happy she's coming, and I'm happy that you're coming too.
I will definitely let her know, because she's actually on a flight right now, so that's why you didn't hear from her tonight. So she's a little busy. But I want to say thank you, Tanisha, so much for being with us again this week. This was a redo because we had a little technical problems last time, as some of you that saw it may recall, but we got this together. It was perfect this time. So thank you so much, and thank you to Allison and your wonderful team.
Thank
And you can
you.
hear any of these episodes on iTunes. The podcasts are under Ask Dr. Renee. So if you just search iTunes for Ask Dr. Renee, the podcasts are free, do not cost you anything. You can upload them. I even have a podcast app on my phone, and you can listen to them as you're working out, driving, whatever. I promise it's great information. I hope we were able to motivate and inspire at least one person tonight to live their dreams and take that leap. Quit complaining, because honestly, when you keep complaining, you just keep bringing on more of that bad energy. So you want to stop complaining and figure out how to make sure you're living your life on purpose, with a purpose. And don't forget to go buy Tanisha's book, Profit with Purpose. And thank you so much. And next week we have mommy blogger, but she's also a fashion stylist. She has several titles, but her name is Regine Stroud. Her website is soiree.com, and she will be with us next Sunday. We'll be back to Sunday. Yesterday was Easter, so we took off Sunday and we came tonight. But we will be back on Sunday next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much to everyone. And please tweet me, Ask Dr. Renee, Facebook, email, everything is Ask Dr. Renee, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Good night.
Thank you.